Water. Welcome back to the North American LCS Spring Playoffs. You're getting a look at Team Liquid a short time ago discussing Game 1 and strategizing for Game 2 of this third-place matchup against Team Impulse. And strategizing, yes, they are going to need to do that, maybe change some things up. Let's discuss a couple possibilities as to how they might come away with a win here in Game 2, as the teams are switching sides this time.
Yeah, and they're actually going to be on the same sides now for 3 games in a row. A pretty normal strategy for the first choice team is to pick red side in Game 3, since the side choices are actually blind picked. So they want to make sure they get at least one red side game in the series. Anyway, because Team Liquid has the first pick here, I think that Hecarim ban that they threw out in the first game can very easily either have to flex to Team Impulse or just become their first pick. The other power picks I see in mind are Vladimir, and honestly something that was completely missing from last game, the Lulu, which if they're going to be picking Hecarim, could fit with a Lulu mid lane, something Phoenix played to not much success, but something Team Liquid likes.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing I want to talk about, though, is that Gragas, because does Team Liquid have an answer for it? As Kobe mentioned, it's the Lee Sin of the Cinder Hulk junglers, and if we know anything about Rush and his Lee Sin play, if he can do anything,
take over the game.
Yeah, he can absolutely take over the game. So what's Team Liquid's answer for this? Is it using that freed up Hecarim ban as a Gragas ban, or has Dominate been practicing it, or do they have something else to deal with it?
I definitely feel like Dominate can play the champion. I don't know if they would rather first pick, spend an early pick on it. But yeah, it definitely seems like it's going to be a problem.
Yeah, something we almost have to think about here is how many power picks are available? And do you just forego the bans if you have enough flex picks? So one thing Team Liquid banned in the first game was Rumble. I think they have to keep that ban if they don't want to face Impact Rumble straight up. Outside of that, though, if they're leaving up Hecarim, Vladimir, Lulu, and Gragas, plus any contested AD carry support picks they want, there's a chance the Team Liquid could actually kind of trade 3 for 2 as far as total power picks are of shared contested champions. And maybe that's what they end up having to go for, because that Gragas thing kind of throws a wrench into Team Liquid's pick ban.
Yeah, generally when you get down in series like this, I really like it when teams just, the team that lost, goes all in and target bans one player with all 3 bans, rather than trying to ban out the strong champions. That way, you target ban someone you know you're going to have a positive effect, and then it's just kind of who can grab the most top picks.
And we were talking about that mid lane matchup and the importance of it. And there's some talk about Xiao's champion pool not being the largest, so maybe that's where we look for those targeted bans at one player. I mean, he played fantastically on that Orianna. We do know his Karthus is out there and ready to be played, and he does play that Vladimir, as do and of course Yasuo. But that's the thing. I mean, we've seen his Yasuo, be rather shaky. Maybe you try and force him all the way down to that, and it gives Phoenix the position to be a playmaker again. Get ahead on something like Zed and then actually be relevant.
Yeah, I think if they want to move that out, though, they have to get him off of Orianna. I think Orianna is a champion Xiao can pick into almost any team composition, and unless Team Liquid is willing to pick that away from him, I haven't seen many great plays from Phoenix on Orianna. I know he plays a lot of things, but Orianna is a generalist champion who you need a lot of games on to have high success rates, and it looks like that's where Xiao is reaching on.
Yeah, if you go Orianna, I think you probably have to double up and go Karthus as well, and double ban Xiao.
All right, well, I'm certain the teams have figured out their strategies for themselves, as they will be ready in just a moment. As we throw it over to the casters for Game 2, Apollo talks us through Team Impulse's evolution and how the team found their play style.
We didn't really choose our playstyle yet in the beginning of the season. We just kind of played what we thought was good. And then once our coach came in and once Impact came in, we kind of decided to play like more aggressive and then like listen to Xiao a little bit more too, which is a big thing. Like he started to communicate more. Towards the end of the season, we felt confident and we know that we can do well as a team coming into the next split.
Water.
Well, doing well they are. I can't disagree with that. That was pretty funny.
Thank you. Sometimes I get it right.
Now, what do you guys feel that Team Liquid can do coming into the next game? Because in the beginning of the last game, we saw they obviously went for damage Rek'Sai. They had Blade of the Rune Kings on both Zed and Vayne. And coming out for Impulse was Adrian's roam to be safe, letting Rush actually do the farming, not being the guy that's mid lane like Dominate was.
Yeah, you're going to have to throw some bans at Xiao. You're going to make sure that he doesn't get
so like the analyst desk was saying.
Yeah.
Right.
And also, since you are first pick, you don't have to have all those top lane bans. You get to pick one of them for yourself first rotation or first round.
And especially considering Dominate likes playing these aggro early game junglers, his Rek'Sai is very good. You can kind of put impact on an unsafe top laner, first pick the Hecarim, grab the Rek'Sai second round, and then, oh, I can beat up your Rumble, I can beat up your sort of immobile top laner here, maybe the Maokai, something like that. So definitely a lot of ways that Liquid could try to abuse what they expect Impulse to do. There's the Hecarim ban, not a big surprise.
You have to ban that after they ban Gnar, because if they first pick that Hecarim top, you're just like, what am I going to play into it?
You hope Kennen works, and you hope you get a gank.
Yeah.
Figure we'll see a Maokai on this list as well. Maybe that Morgana. It's all up to
Rumble,
actually, those
Morgana.
are really, those are really the bans that we see going at Impulse. So I don't see them banning any of those out. They, like we said, get the red side this time, so they like to get that last pick, usually for Xiao, and round out whatever he can fight against. Rush's Lee Sin is going to be taken out of the game, and Urgot as well. So the ban's actually being switched up quite a bit here as we come into game 2. Quas takes the Rumble away immediately. We'll see how Impulse answers, possibly a Shyvana immediately to the top lane.
I didn't know Quas was ready to play Rumble in this matchup. I mean, you saw Liquid change up a lot of their old bans. You saw Impulse drop a lot of their old bans as well, meaning Liquid gets to play almost whatever they want. And to continue the trend of try to knock down Impact, the Rumble first pick steals, very interesting.
They end up leaving the Morgana up, but this is the test. Is he going to play it, or is he going to prioritize Shyvana above it? Because if he doesn't go for the Morgana, it means that they don't have to ban it for pretty much the rest of the series. But also, Lee Sin, Gragas off the table, they're trying to force Rush on something without as much pressure. If he goes back to the Nunu, they're pretty confident on Team Liquid's side. They can handle the Nunu after the showing he showed against TSM with that pressure. I hope he goes for the Rek'Sai here to continue his trend of early game pressure, if he can pull that off. But right now is actually another thing too. Has he been playing Sejuani? What does he have up his sleeve? If it's anything, he's going to go back to early game pressure.
That's what I wanted to see. The Morgana that got left through. I wanted to see Morgana into Rumble. Rumble cannot get away from Morg without flashing. The Rek'Sai early gank pressure. I would actually like to see Warrior Rek'Sai, by the way, just to make sure he has the early impact to ruin Quas's day. I think it's actually just the reverse of what I was calling for Team Liquid. Let the Rumble come in, gank that fool, make his life miserable, but it's Impulse doing it, and it's the exact way Impulse likes to play. Hey, look, it's Impact and Rush. It's like a broken record, but every time these guys can absolutely dominate a lane. Speaking of which, Sejuani, though, a big team fighter.
Yeah, and that's also a flex pick Corki. It could go to Phoenix in the mid lane and have a poke comp with that frontline Sejuani and then the Rumble for follow-up, but right now, I want to see how they round out this composition on Team Impulse's side, because right now it's kind of...
It can go anywhere.
Yeah, right now it's pretty ambiguous. Like, there's not a whole lot you can decipher from this. The Orianna's off the table. What's Xiao going to go on next? Because he has played in the past, they were talking about it. He didn't have great performances on some other champions, right? His Yasuo wasn't that overwhelming, and his Twisted Fate also fell flat.
Well, right now, very few knockups. I would not want to see Yasuo here. Impulse could... I think they don't want to pick support because they want to... Oh, no, take it back. Okay, they're not going to flex pick the Morgana. They're going to... So, yep, it is really impacting the top lane. I like that they are saving their mid lane pick, though. They know this Corki is flex. It could be Phoenix in the mid. They want to lock that matchup down and let Xiao counter pick here. Now, this comp is not very good for Yasuo, and I don't think it's very good for Twisted Fate either.
So, this would be the exact same composition if they pick Lulu. Would, for Xiao mid, be the exact same composition that they played against Gravity Week 5.
Oh, yeah, where Impact had a really good time in the lane swap, and they just pressured the game out in about 27 minutes. Piglet will play Twitch for himself here, so still playing these weak laning sort of hard carry AD carries here for Piglet.
He still could.
And this is interesting then. Thresh would give him even more playmaking power. I actually really like Lulu support with Twitch, but that's not going to come through here. So Thresh coming in. And Liquid picked all their own champions.
That's true. They just picked it down the line. Boom.
They knew what they wanted. A lot of AP coming from this team right now. We'll see if it does switch up here for Xiao as he picks the mid lane. The TS open, the Vlad's open, the Ori is not open as that was first banned. As well, that Karthus is open. So he's got quite a bit to play, and all these sit quite near his comfort list right at the top.
Yeah, that's the champion that I would expect he would go for. It is a double AD composition. Everybody's pretty squishy except for the Sejuani here.
Right.
Pretty much in the entire game. She's the only tanky member here.
The wall would be great to stop some of these ults.
Oddly, I actually like Yasuo here.
Right.
There's not a lot of comp synergy, but it really wrecks double AD carries, both in assassinating the backline as well as stopping their damage up with Wind And I think he can do a good job against Phoenix.
Yeah.
I actually think it's the right choice. There it is. Yeah, all right, Xiao Wei Xiao. I actually like the Yasuo. For the first time, by the way, all season, I like this Yasuo pick for Xiao Wei Xiao. They can black shield him. They've got a lot of early pressure with Rek'Sai as well. Even knock-up synergy from the jungle is very big on a non-ultimate.
Right.
There's a lot of playmaking here
And
for
we
Impulse.
didn't see the team on the camera chuckle, 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 sad face.
Yeah.
They're actually happy about this pick. It was discussed before. Xiao Wei Xiao's not pulling out some stops here that nobody knew. They have been practicing this one, and I'm sure Xiao Wei Xiao's going to show big on it.
Yeah, and just to
I'm
clarify.
not sure. Hopefully for the team, they're thinking.
No, I think he will.
On it.
And just to clarify, I know like literally 2 minutes ago I was like, I don't like Yasuo here until I saw the enemy team comp. Normally, you kind of want the big 5-on-5 wombo power, but in this specific case, he's totally fine. Just as backline assassination, I think he will be hard to hold down. Meanwhile, Team Liquid, an amazing team fight comp, Rumble, Sejuani, Twitch, and then a little bit of playmaking with Thresh and Corki Poke. So very well-rounded team. The wave crew's pretty good as well. There is not a lot of split push power this time for Team Liquid, but that's okay. They don't necessarily need it here.
Yeah, both teams look like they're going to go for the team fights here. The double AD composition is going to want to force down turrets, but they're also going to want to kite backwards in a team fight. The Janna is not going to have too much to say in this game. It's going to be shields and also knock-up for Yasuo. But also on top of that, the sticking power that Sivir is going to give Yasuo against these AD carries is really big.
Yeah, it is.
That's right. We just saw coaches on the screen, the handshakes. Peter on the left, Fly on the right. We'll switch them around, but those guys giving the last few words to their teams as we head into Game 2. Keep updating your vote for who you think the series is going to. Tweet hashtag TLWin or hashtag TIPWin to @LOL Esports. We'll update the poll once we are on the Rift, and we're just about to be there. I'm sure Team Liquid wants to get their feet set back on that Rift and get running right out of the gate because the Game 1's something they want to shake off here and pull a win in for themselves.
Exactly. They do want to shake off that Game 1.
Absolutely.
And in a best of 5, there's still possibly 4 more games to go. Keeping your mentality up in a best of 5 is huge. You have to be able to just go back to even and give yourself a little boost in the next game.
I think there's definitely a chance that either team could win this game. I feel like their spirits will be plenty high. Team Liquid going for an early invade into the bottom side of the jungle. And they are not spotted by any early wards, actually. It feels like they've read the Team Impulse opening. And they've bypassed every single ward on this one until they reveal right now they've been invading. There's the ward, there's the ping, and they're going to ping the rest of the team. All right, Team Impulse knows, and they're going to rush and kind of... I think they should just do similar wards. Oh, those are all down already. They can't.
Yeah, they pinged as if they wanted to go, and then everybody's like, wait a second.
Oh, wow.
We don't have the wards for it, so they have to go up top.
The line of scrimmage wards by Impulse means, yeah, you're right. They cannot. That's interesting.
But
I don't see that very often.
Here's the thing, too, is they know that their duo lane wasn't spotted.
True.
As well. So the wards are actually giving Team Liquid no information at this moment.
Also, Adrian got a really deep ward in the bottom lane brush, and he saw Piglet recall, so they can actually expect the dual lane to go top here. So Impulse actually will have the ability to choose the matchups they want. And I don't know if I like Sivir Janna up against Twitch Thresh.
It gives you pushing power. It gives you a lot of auto-attack trading with the shield.
As long as you're not afraid of Sejuani.
And they also
ganks.
get to take the small Krug at the start.
That's true. All right. Small Krug killed. They know they're in a 2-on-2, but they will stay for the big one as well. Sivir got the first one. She might be, I think, only donated the half level to let Adrian level up as well.
Yeah, they don't know it's a lane swap just yet.
I think they should expect it.
Here's the thing is
Now they see
bottom
it.
side hasn't shown either, and there they go.
Oh, yeah, okay. All right, so Team Liquid initiating the lane swap. Team Impulse, I think, we're happy to match it here. And Adrian, a little bit low on health, but I think he'll be okay. XP advantage definitely for Impulse. And actually, there's not even a push lead either for Team Liquid. They froze the lane not knowing what the matchups were.
Right.
And that means it's going to be easily level 2 first for both of, for some of Impulse.
As soon as they saw it, they tried to call it. He said, special, start using some of those relics.
Adrian's going to hit
they
2
did
first as well.
Get time. There's the Howling Gale and the trade. Definitely going to the bouncing Sivir boomerangs.
Wow. And Impulse could actually freeze that lane. This dual lane could go really wrong really, really fast in the favor of TIP. Quas taking a lot of damage as well. Impact like in this matchup. Ooh.
And Xiao Wei Xiao is just playing his old champion pool back when he was in Challenger. It's pretty much Yasuo, Orianna every game.
Yeah, that's true.
He played those team fighters and pretty much when they were at their peak last year.
Like riding a bike, still coming in a situation like Yasuo, you have to see kind of a few moves ahead as you dash around. You can't just look at what's going on in the present. Oh, great hook onto Apollo. That's a double flay as Adrian walks into it, but it's to focus damage onto Piglet. A very good move there, putting himself in danger, but to get the upper hand in the fight.
Yeah, Piglet was still a little low there. He hasn't blown his potion just yet. There it goes. It comes out of his inventory to just start healing him up. So he actually has pretty much the same HP.
And that's Phoenix's Valkyrie burned right off the bat off this one. It's a very long cooldown, and it's 100 mana cost as well. But it frees up a bit of time for Xiao to be safe. He actually opened up Cloth 5, by the way, to withstand a lot of this poke. Xiao knowing he needs the sustain to stay in this matchup. Impact shoving Quas heavily into the turret. Quas going to lose a lot of CS here. So far, every lane pretty nice for TIP.
And it looks like he does have 6 flat magic penetration on this Corki. No armor penetration.
Magic Pen Glyphs is what that is, I guess. And then otherwise pretty standard runes for the guy.
So it's a distinct possibility that Ludens is in his future.
Could make it happen. We've seen it a few times. We've seen some people say, nah, I don't like it too much. But when we do see it, it usually puts out a lot of power.
Yeah.
Phoenix could definitely choose to do that. He's had quite a variety of champions played this year, so go either way with that and still feel comfortable, AD or AP. Coming up here, just about 5 minutes in, the gold lead is going towards the side of Team Liquid, but the lane advantage is slowly being pushed in favor of Impulse here to keep the game going in their favor to mid.
And there's a ton of CS waiting to be picked up by the TIP bot lane here. I expect them to equalize the CS pretty nicely. Xiao really battling Phoenix there. Woo. Another Valkyrie forced away. Phoenix now out of mana, but he's got a flask and some potions still to pick from. Rush comes on in, flash, knock up on a Piglet. There's first blood right away, and it's special. He still has flash. He's going to walk away safely, but a big lead now for the TIP bottom lane.
Very interesting. Not really somewhere you think you'd ever get popped up, but it's against the Rek'Sai, and she has some interesting entries into her ganks.
Xiao's got to be careful. His jungler's top. They know that there's no counter gank. TL's going to go in right now.
Good. Oh, he actually needs to turn on this one. He realizes the problem that could be happening right now.
Q.
Dominate's going to come in. They're going to be able to finalize this. And he flashes at the end. Didn't have the damage
Man,
thing.
he's just
flash
hoping,
the minions.
He's hoping for that.
Flash dash.
Yeah, hoping for that 400 crit onto Phoenix.
Yeah.
Zeus
If he was going to make that move, as soon as he put the wind wall out, it should have been a flash over to the other side as soon as Phoenix was coming into that wind wall.
All right, so Xiao over-aggressive in that one. Had no reason to die, but sadly did, and that puts Team Liquid back on the board here. And it's a 1-0 Corki. Recalls for a Phage. It's going to be a very happy lane for Phoenix here. There's not even any damage items yet on Xiao. He's rushing Ninja Tabby, which against Corki feels really silly, by the way. It's not like he's going to do a lot of auto-attack damage to you. But, I don't know. Xiao, I like the pick, but so far I don't like the piloting.
Ooh. That's a nice way to put it.
Thank you.
But still kind of mean.
I mean, ironically, it's Phoenix who's actually a pilot in this game. He's driving a Raffle
You're getting too meta for me right now.
Sorry, dog.
I can't handle it.
It was like the Sejuani of jokes. Too
Whoa.
meta.
Oh,
man.
He doesn't have that flash. Remember last time? Oh, he does have flash. He held it knowing he would go down last time. And he actually gets out this time, holding it with a bit of that calm, cool, collected mentality. Impact obviously going to give Quas something to think about here in the bottom lane that will push him out of lane and again harass under the turret. More pressure towards Piglet to shut him down on the top side, and Impulse is getting everything they want right now.
That was really good by Rush. He had a pink ward down there, and Xpecial threw his Lantern over to start auto-attacking it, and that means he doesn't have a Lantern to save Piglet. So they immediately turn and put pressure on the turret.
Very smart stuff. Team Liquid starting to move around after.
It's a 6 Sejuani.
Oh, this is really scary. Double push around, jumps over the wall, catches up to Rush. In comes Quas on a teleport, and that's going to be Rush going down. Great TP by Quas. And now Phoenix pushing into Adrian. Level 4 Janna, not very durable.
Impact, though, he didn't TP to the fight. He gets to go ahead and push this bottom lane as much as possible and has that TP advantage for himself. So see what he can do with that. Team Liquid up 800 gold, though, after that one kill over them.
Yeah, I don't think Impact actually gets a lot off of that non-answered teleport. Quas had just cleared the wave off himself. Impact only with 2 points into Tormented Soil, doesn't even push very fast as well, so he gets like a wave and a half denied, but of course very worth it for Quas. If Impulse want to cash in on this, they need to lane swap back, use the TP advantage to pressure a dragon.
But here's the thing, is Apollo has a BF sword to a Vamp Scepter.
Yeah.
That's the big advantage here on the field for TIP, but there is a level and experience advantage for the majority of Team Liquid at this point.
I actually think Impulse can really abuse that item advantage. They can either really try to win the 2-on-2 even harder with more rush ganks, or they go bottom lane and they get dragon and bottom turret pressure with that. And I don't think Quas can handle that.
Yeah, and also the fact that Needlessly Large Rod has come in for Impact. But
Impact's got way clear now.
Dominate, he has hit the Cinder Hulk already. So he's in a good spot on that Sejuani. He's level 6. He used that ultimate. And that was the big thing. As soon as he hits 6, looks for a gank, looks for where Rush is going to be to counter that. And Rush didn't get any really good early game moves off at all. So the fact that Dominate has his number on this tank champion early doesn't bode too well for Rush in the late game.
Absolutely agree. Incredibly impressive so far by I Will Dominate. 0-0-2 on Sejuani. Perfect kill participation so far. Very tanky man. The ulti coming up in the next 20 seconds as well means we might see even more playmaking. Quas has ult, Piglet has ult, Xpecial has Ignite. No mana on this Sivir. I mean, there's a lot of places that Dom could go.
Quas actually just returned back to that bottom lane. He hovered mid after being pushed, so feeling good. He really got the best of a bad situation after being so harassed by Impact in that lane. Comes up with the kill towards the top. And now it's Dominate to float towards the mid side. So the movement right now tells me Team Liquid's kind of holding back for a second, farm out these lanes and get a few more spikes that they need. These kills working in their favor are very nice for them. This was Impulse's lead in the first game here, but now that Team Liquid have it, doesn't seem like Impulse is finding ways to get it back just yet. See if this blue transferred over to Phoenix in the mid lane, and if Dragon might come shortly after that.
And you've been talking about it for win lane, win game for Team Impulse.
Yeah.
They're not winning the lane right now.
Right.
Now they've got a small lead on Impact because of an unmatched teleport, but that's really it right now. Haunting guys on Quas. And the thing is, there's no plays being made by Impulse despite a teleport disadvantage, and that's, to me, very, very strange. To me, the biggest weakness of Impulse is their mid-game shot calling. I think they just don't know what to do in an equal game, really. There's the first attempt, but there's no like good TP wards. I don't know if they could force Piglet down, who's got Flash.
Well, what they should have done a couple of minutes ago, there's actually a ward that was by the Wolves previously on the top side. So if they had shoved in with Sivir, Rush was in the area, they could have 4-man collapsed on top.
Yeah.
They didn't go for that option, though. They didn't go for the force.
You're right. It's the 4-man forcing. I think that's something that Impulse just don't really know how to do very much right now as a team, but something that's definitely should be in their playbook. I think it would be very powerful for them. Right now, though, just playing more laning phase. Xiao just trying to get farm best he can.
They're also a little scared because Dominate has his ultimate back up. He didn't even have to use Flash previously, and they don't have wards to see him in his jungle. And getting those wards is still really very risky because the collapse around a Sejuani that can slow you, knock you up, and stun you for so long.
All right, so one of the reasons I'm seeing Impulse keep lanes like this is Morgana is on the correct side to get a blue buff. Of course, Xiao doesn't need it, Rush doesn't need it.
Yeah.
And so they want to keep him bot side just for that buff, but again, I don't think it's worth the turret that they would pretty much for sure kill if they had swapped the lanes around. Either way, Xiao getting pushed around, still down 20 CS under Phoenix. So good plays by the Team Liquid mid laner and jungler have gotten that one in. Quas more or less surviving this matchup, though. Like, we're not seeing Impact really grow any kind of lead.
It's the BF sword shield there. That's what they're trying to do, is they're just trying to bully this top lane out, but it's not working.
Yeah, I mean, guess what? It's a Vamp Scepter AD carry and a shield on the support. So they're not getting meaningful damage to stick down because they're not forcing the issue. They've got 40 extra attack damage and like half a level, and just nothing's happening for Impulse.
Well,
here.
Piglet and Xpecial also playing super safe. Xpecial sitting on 1,000, 1,800 for Piglet, so he can finish Blade of the Rune King right away. We may see that lane transfer back to the bottom lane. So Team Liquid feels the advantage is enough for now, it seems. They really haven't been pressuring too much after getting that tad lead.
Liquid's happy to wait right now.
Yeah.
They're fine with just farming up at this moment. They want to wait for those power spikes. When you have double AD carry, it's not about forcing things early. It's about getting those items, getting the Trinity Force, getting the Blade of the Rune King down so that you can actually take turrets, have that mid-game spike over your opponent, and then force it.
I mean, there's no killable lanes here, right? Like, Xiao's going to wind wall the Sejuani ulti unless he over-aggresses. You got a 40 attack damage, like, difference? Sure, okay. In the AD carry lane. And Morgana's got Black Shield. Like, they're really, oh my god, yeah. But that happens, right? The one-on-one's good here in this lane.
Still looking for the spikes. Quas needs to get those Sork boots. That finished up Triforce for Phoenix. Big things can happen at an objective.
Okay, they're going to try. Flash knockup.
Rush comes in from the side. No deep wards, but still a good move by Phoenix to stay safe. These guys have been working this lane. They still haven't gone back yet. Try to get the kill onto Adrian. And that calls for a quick ultimate to disengage from Team Impulse. Looks like they're going to have to reconsider the aggression in this lane for a sec here.
I think they need to recall themselves pretty soon.
Right.
A lot of money right now on this Sivir. Can almost one-shot an Infinity Edge at this point. Quas actually going in onto Impact and just feels good at level 9. Multi trade in. Impact still going to be okay for a short time, but taking so much full spinner damage. Quas flashes. Can he dodge the equalizer? Oh, Impact is going to survive it.
He so baited that against the wall.
And he's going to walk back up and just do Morgana things by sustaining with his W. So he's actually not completely knocked out of the lane in this bottom lane yet. They both have TP, though. Impact didn't actually get to press his TP advantage at all.
And all the way back up there, a kill for Quas at cost of a wave and a half. Not really a big deal for him whatsoever.
Oh, whoa. Big special.
Oh, whoa, indeed.
Down he goes. Nice spell shield by Apollo as well.
He's just trying to help his team. He's trying to help on the invade, and he face checks the bush right into Adrian, who gets the slow, and they collapse around him because he doesn't have his box from previous, but he doesn't even use his flash either.
Yeah, that was very strange. I know there's no ult for the Sivir, but yeah, bit of an awkward choice. Nice smite by Rush, gets the red. Xiao getting farther behind. He's now down 35 minions in this lane. Rush going to try one more time. And every time when he shows up, Phoenix just saves Valkyrie, and nothing happens in this lane at all.
He's got to clear these tunnels, too, because it's giving him a little extra boost to get into that lane.
All right, Impulse refusing to recall in the bottom lane. It finally pays off for them. An overstep by Special, and an outer turret goes down. Now maybe Impulse will swap the lanes and knock the turret down. Gives themselves some Baron control. Xiao doing what he can to scrape together farm, but he's got a long road still to go.
Yeah, he's down 40 CS right now. Was having a great game on the Orianna, but Xiao, Yasuo doesn't take those Raptors as easily as he used to. He doesn't shove the lane as quickly. He needs that static shiv, and then he can go ahead and start farming much faster.
But he rushed a Ninja Tab against Corki, which doesn't care about the physical damage output of the champion. So he delayed it. But the shiv is done now, 15 minutes in. Xiao actually, I don't know if his split push is very good now. He built armor, so he's not good against Quas either. And Piglet would never split push anyway. So I don't know. I don't love Xiao's build right now, but maybe we'll see him unlock a little bit farther down in the game. Impulse have swapped now. They sent Morgana top. She's got teleport. Pink wards come down. Couple of sweepers. TIP looking for Dragon.
I think both teams are just looking for late game team fights. Mid-late game team fights is what they're looking for around item spikes. You can see right now, Trinity Force Blade of the Ruined King completed, but they had to back for those items just now on Team Liquid's side. So Dragon started up by TIP, and they don't really have the people here just yet.
Apollo going to help a little bit. There we go. Good Dragon pickup. He's going to try. That's silly for Dom. Oh, okay, yeah, Lantern. I didn't see the special was there, so that's fine. Scuttler, because why not?
Thank you, Thresh.
Yeah.
You can do silly things when you have a Thresh.
Yes.
So see some of the spikes coming out in the game here. Piglet now with the Blade of the Ruined King finish. He went back and spent all of that gold. I remember we were talking to Double Lift just the other day, and he was saying, I miss the AD carries that can kind of make plays by themselves, and that's what we used to see is Twitch just kind of popping out in the mid lane and dropping somebody to 10%. We'll see if Piglet, once again, first game on Vayne, now on Twitch, can have that added pressure and still get through with the carry. Last game it didn't work out so well for him. Still have a chance to get any of these fights on. We haven't really seen a 5v5 or anything more than a gank from the junglers here into mid lane. So a lot to come for both teams in this game, and the gold lead once again just teetering back and forth. Impulse now with that lead by 400.
Yeah, they're just trying to scale. Both teams are just trying to scale and wait for the team fights.
Oh, man. Oh, my God!
Oh, you dirty rat! Jeez. Oh, man.
Speaking of dirty rats, that's a Poro.
That's a Poro. It is. And that's a dead impact. He's going to look good for a second doing it, though.
Oh.
Done. A little bit of damage.
Gets that. He'll be able to buy some time here. I don't think the team has too much of a move around the map. Everything was happening a little too fast. They do get bottom turret for the efforts in the top lane here from Team Liquid, so turret for a turret.
I want to see him push farther, actually. I think they can actually crash into the tier 2. Get a lot of that health down. Xiao trying to 1v1 onto Phoenix. A short hops. Valkyrie forcing a flash away. Xiao gets him in the 1v1 while down 37 minions.
Static shiv, baby.
Static shiv, and Apollo walks out safe as well.
Got gold socks on and everything. A little bit of a gold lead now with the efforts of Impulse here. They're going to do some ward clearing, and they need to push theirs up now to start making these plays, figure out where Piglet is, and make sure he does not become a very big Twitch. See a Glacial Shroud for Dominate here as he wants to be able to stand tall in these fights for a while with Apollo and Xiao getting big.
That was incredible that Xiao managed to win that fight. I like the matchup. It was just a matter of surviving, and Xiao.
Those are the plays we used to see.
He did better than I would have in that matchup, but finally survives, gets ahead.
That's
gets
like telling a painter, nice drawing. I can't draw like that.
Yeah, well, either way, just saying.
That's why I say in the Sistine Chapel all the time. But so this is actually really big for TIP, and this is what happened last game too. They are not relying on Rush as heavily. He's just pressure, and they're winning their lanes now just by being superior players in the one-on-ones, in the two-on-twos.
Careful, Phoenix.
Oh!
Rush is here.
He's going forward.
Burrow. Rush has not gone for a flash and burrow all game.
Oh, he got it, yeah! Oh, he wind-walled the ultimate.
The glacial prison.
Womp, womp, womp. That just happened.
Man, Xiao just, I never have a read on this guy, because sometimes...
Where were you all season?
Sometimes he'll win wall nothing, and then other times he's like, I win wall a point-blank Fizz ultimate.
Yep.
Like, this guy blows my mind. He's an enigma, like Jat was saying last week.
He is, you just don't know. Let's see that one more time, because it was glorious.
We can get the ultra style zoom up in here.
Slow-mo?
What?
Bam.
He like pushes it back into him. He's like, have it.
Get these poor treats out of here.
So Xiao feeling on point, and when somebody's playing like this on your team, it definitely starts to kind of spread out. Everybody gets that confidence. Everybody's following through. And we'll see if Impulse can use this bit of an advantage. It's nothing huge. They're not working with a 10,000 gold lead, but they seem to have the edge right now. If they can push it. In the mid lane, might get even bigger. Looks like Liquid able to gather, however, in the mid lane and stop everything that Impulse had in mind.
And they're going to start split pushing with Xiao. And when Impact was on Morgana previously, it was all about his binding accuracy when people were running between lanes and catching them out. If he can be on his game and they can control the vision with pink wards between where Xiao is, if he lands bindings like that, except hitting the champion instead of the minion, that's how TIP cracks open the mid game and gets these turrets.
CS is just as important.
Yeah.
Got to get that CS.
Apollo got it though, so even Impact could have just said about that one.
I like the shield onto Apollo, a little bit of extra damage to serve to the turret as well, getting everything they can when they have the opportunity here. They're not moving though, so this is this kind of gets scary as well, where you kind of telegraph what you're going to do. You almost allow the other team time to set up. They have good wards though, and it looks like they're going to be able to stave that off. See if Liquid can find a way to get back in. This turret's not going to be long for this world if Impulse really wants it to go down.
And I actually like what Impulse has done here. They've got so many tools, once again, at their disposal. Much like last game, it feels like this team is able to pick up so many tools. They've got a really strong split pusher in Xiao. And I said before he couldn't split push against Quas, but Xiao got a whole bunch of gold and XP, and he got some lifesteal. And now he can fight Quas. We already seen him fight Phoenix, and he'll never lose to Piglet. So you got split push power. That can't be answered reasonably at all by Team Liquid. And they've also got team fight, because there's just enough knockups for Xiao to be useful here in a 5-on-5.
Well, also, you're talking about it. Yasuo's really good against double AD because he just puts down the wind wall, and they can't shoot past it. He stunts pretty much all their damage output except for Rumble.
I mean, he's just so good against Twitch as well.
Already got the stop on Dominate's ult. He can just kill the spray and pray as well.
Yeah.
That's a lot of damage
They're doing
Piglet's
the 1-3-1.
going to be looking for.
They're doing the 1-3-1 that Liquid wanted to do last game on TIP's side. Morgana top, and then throw Yasuo bottom, and then throw 3 members as a core unit. And this is good because the Sivir has a way to get away if they're engaged on. And the engage from Team Liquid is pretty much just Sejuani ultimate or getting hit with a hook.
They're also not that far behind and quite powerful. Needlessly large rod on Haunting Guys, on Sork Boots. If they were to group for these fights and not split push, it would almost be a bad idea. We see the damage from Apollo. We were looking for Piglet to try and come out and get some 1v1 situations. Almost tags Apollo on that one, but he does get out safely. And we're going to see who has that better team fight. All the AoE is in favor of Team Liquid here, unless you can just get that good Impact ultimate in, and Xiao with the ult.
It's all this CS right before coming into this. Impact got to back. He has 40 CS up over Quas. But then if you look at the mid lane, Xiao's been closing that CS gap with solo lane farm. That was close. Oof.
Yep. But you notice how they pulled it over to Impact. We said at the very beginning of the split, we talked to Team Impulse about how do they communicate. And they have all been learning some English. So, I mean, there is some English in there for these guys. But they said they communicate a lot sort of by instinct. And, you know, so far, very smart choices. Just Apollo pulls it off to the right-hand side. He knows Phoenix is going to be around there. Hey, look, Impact is there to pick it up. It's a very smoothly clicking team by Impulse.
So smites the scuttle, waiting on the cooldown now. Just giving themselves a few paths in and out. They did see that Rush kind of went over the wall there, and he'll be able to Void Rush back into the fight. So they are able to push off Team Liquid now. Paying careful because they don't know where that Void Rush went. But now he's walking on a ward, so they will see him.
Quas is holding the bot lane here. Mid lane already got pushed in, so Impact performing a similar duty. Forced to play defensively under a turret. Impact now behind Team Liquid. It's not the easiest road into this fight. Rush buys him a little bit of space.
He's got almost 40% CDR, though, so he can just keep throwing those out. He's got also max binding at the moment. He put 3 points into W for the wave clear, and he just has to keep throwing them, looking for these picks until they find what they want to go on.
Apollo used the ultimate to try and get in range for the boomerang. They're going on this one hard. That's going to be Apollo picking up the equalizer. The equalizer is just cooking Impulse right now. They, however, move off it quickly, still have a bit of a tank line in Rush, and they're trying to go hard. But Phoenix is on the back line with Quas. Nobody's touched him yet, and they are just firing missiles over the shoulders of their teammates to come up with that 2 for 3.
That equalizer was so good. That's what ended up getting Team Liquid that fight, and capitalizing off the position that TIP put themselves in. They're going to get a turret off of this one, and possibly more. They could turn towards that dragon.
Zamrian, you said it. It was the split push was really the thing that started to look good for them. Grouping up for that equalizer, that Sejuani, and all the other AoE is not what they wanted to do.
Yeah, looks like they're not going to go for the dragon. It's a little too risky.
Right.
They're not even going to clear ward vision there. They want to back up and try to have another fight like this. The positioning, they actually didn't go in immediately. They waited for a lot of the binding to wear off and put them in this position where TIP just in a beautiful line there. And Xiao, he's iced right now.
Yeah.
He has
more burn.
Nothing. He's got nothing. He had a flash and he wasn't able to use it to get out because of the Sejuani ultimate. Really good layering of CC and damage there by Team Liquid, and that's what the teams are waiting for. They're waiting for these explosive fights, and it's whoever plays them better is going to come out with the win.
And Impulse has lower cooldown ultimates, so they go right back into this one. They would be happy to fight another team battle right now. Quas, no equalizer, dominate, no glacial prison. Really no ults except for rockets for Phoenix, which doesn't even count. So
it's still an ultimate. It's just like Udi or Phoenix dances.
That's not an ultimate. You can't learn it at level 1 versus level 6. So I disagree with you here. Either way, Dominic goes back in, but it does come back up. Apollo hooked in and shut down. A 1 for 0 onto the turret. The battle continues as 2 kills already picked up. Dominates down to the back lines, but Impulse forced to run away. Mid lane tier 2 gonna be killed here. Nice fight by Liquid, and oh no, Impact. Well, a little bit of misses there, but he's gonna go down. Phoenix with the crit. Nice fight.
You should really still ring the doorbell if you're going to break the door down anyways. It's just common. It's nice. Being nice.
Yeah.
Wow. What an engage.
Yeah, it actually looked like Adrian had 1 second, like a half second before his ultimate was back up, before that ultimate from Sejuani landed. That was just great by Dom. And now they turn towards the Baron. Rush is still up.
He's got Smite.
He's got Smite. He might go for this.
They're all pretty low. This is a huge risk to go for. Rush can go for the knockup, maybe. It's Xiao buying a little bit of time. Dominate's chasing him down, but taking Chris to the face. Quas could get wrecked with this battle. There's the engage, but he's hit by the box wall. Gets taken out. Rush can't kill Phoenix either. Oh my God.
What? Everybody needs a blood transfusion right now in Liquid. And look at that. They're all bleeding red. How? Xiao had to sneeze.
Yeah, he didn't get the knockup onto Phoenix there.
Oh. And he had to prime his own knockup too. He didn't do it before he got there.
Oh. That was so close. They stopped the Baron though.
Yeah.
And it's 2K difference between these two teams. Almost 3. But the fact they stopped the Baron still gives TIP a chance in this game. They trade 2 for it.
Yeah.
And they almost got away with it too.
All right. Well, we've seen when the Sejuani ultimate lands, the team fights are pretty hard to win for Team Impulse. Unsurprising there, of course, a lot of burst damage with this kind of composition. It comes down, I think, a lot to Xiao's wind walls. Impulse, they have the ability to poke quite nicely. Yes, one side has rockets, and that's pretty nice from Corki and all that, but you still got dark bindings. You still got the ability to fish for tornadoes for Xiao or for Adrian. Both are fine, actually. Team Liquid have to be a little bit afraid, and as long as Impulse can fight from far enough away, they can react to Sedge ults, they can react to the hard engage. It's going to be difficult.
If a Sedge ult lands, though, it's going to be brutal because everybody is prioritizing their item build towards double AD carry, not towards Sejuani. So no Merc treads here.
Right.
Smite's almost up. That was actually fortunate.
Yeah.
I feel like the Sejuanis kind of took a lot of consideration when we said they were missing ultimates. Dominate's been one to hold it and really hit a lot of pivotal ultimates for the team now in this champion. Just knows it inside and out. Right now, he himself going for an Aegis to try and help the team out with a little bit of this magic resistance as Impact has finished his Abyssal Scepter.
And we talked about how TIP just crushed Team Liquid game 1.
Yeah.
Team Liquid, they look like they're able to just shake it off.
Yeah.
And right now, Dominate is having a great game. You can tell he's in the zone with those ultimates. He has 100% kill participation, and look at that. They're going for even more.
He doesn't try to ult just yet. Knows the wind wall is down. He says, I'm just going to frost this guy, and we'll get him.
He's not overextending for things either. You can tell right now, Team Liquid are in a great place in their mental fortitude and resilience in this series.
It's true. It's something you have to be able to do, especially in Game 2. If Impulse were to see that Liquid had taken a big hit from game to game, they probably would have bit down even harder and even quicker coming into this one. But Liquid not giving up easily. 12-5 here as we come approaching 30 minutes in the game. This is what sealed the deal for Impulse in Game 1. And now Liquid is trying their hand at Baron with Impulse just on the other side of the wall. It's only really going to be Rush that can make that leap if he does decide to go in for the steal. Pretty healthy still. 3,000 health on the Baron.
There's a lot of flashes still, though. These guys could hard engage, and here they go. Q over the wall. Smite goes to I Will Dominate. Flash by Rush. Out he goes. Glacial Prison hits. Agent to disengage. Dominate will not chase anything further. Great Baron secure here by Team Liquid. No casualties.
That thing hits 670, and the smites are 760. It was whoever got that button faster.
Dominate.
It was probably that Smite on F guy, obviously. Smite on D would have missed it.
Dominic got Smite on D, buddy. Nice try,
they both have it on there.
I'm cross-eyed. 30 minutes on this one. 12-5. And we're going to see a 5K gold lead now, 1 minute and 15 into the Dragon being spawned up here. We'll see if they can grab a third Dragon on the side of Impulse. They tried to go for 4 last game, and it's something that was able to help them a little bit. I'd say aspect of the Dragon is something that'll get you inside the base right quick. But right now, figuring out how to repair this game. We saw them in the lead last time, but can they bring it back now? Liquid's doing well.
There's a minute on Dragon. They're setting up for it already. TIP are trying to just get absolute control of this area.
Gonna trap someone.
Dominate is walking up. Uh-oh. Are they going to be the ones who get trapped?
Siv's going to be late. They can't go for this fight anymore. Impulse have to back off. It was a nice attempt. They knew TL would go for Baron control, or sorry, Dragon control, and tried to preempt it with a Death Breath, but no such luck. Sivir wasn't there. They couldn't, like, Sivir ult in and just, like, hardcore dive Piglet. That was definitely an opportunity. Team Liquid came from multiple angles there.
Yeah, and the fact they had a pink ward in that bush, if Piglet had just stealthed himself and tried to base check it, they would have been able to see.
Still get him, so. All right, Team Liquid, 15 seconds on Draggy. Notice the entire team on the bottom side of the map. They don't even want Quast half the TP for this one. Impulse ready to give it up. They've got Sivir on the top side, pushing that one down as far as they can. Bottom outer will also go down, so Liquid's starting to pick up a lot of objectives here.
Yeah,
Impulse doing what they can to take things anywhere that Liquid isn't, and they're getting mid and top pushed in.
They're trying to trade 2 for 1.
Hold on, this actually could be a half of a base race. Liquid are forced to recall. Impulse got the better of it.
Oh, man. This is one of those things you were saying before, Zyrene, is even if Impulse hears the beat of a different drum, they will still go to their own beat.
Are they going to get Dragon anyway?
Down middle. This is going to be difficult for Impulse now to assess of where could Liquid be coming from. They don't have too many wards to show inside the base, but they know pulling back is the safe thing, and they are quite in the clear now.
Right now, there's probably hectic communications because it's Dragon's up. Apollo's trying to shove top lane turrets.
Right.
It's almost down. Do you greed for it? Do you
They'll be there before Twitch. They could try. They could really 5v4 for Dragon. It is a risk, but
Apollo's just going to go back top.
All right, Impulse finally showing that they can play the rotational game quite nicely. I like the Sivir split push.
Whoa.
She's safe. She clears waves fast. She can kill turrets fast. Impulse using a lot of different split pushes to great effect here.
This works even better if they can stop the back here and get more damage onto that, but it's got to be safe.
And Baron's timed out. Liquid went negative in turrets with their Baron buff.
Yeah.
Incredibly impressive by Team Impulse here.
So Apollo finishes off that. Apollo finishes off the top side as Liquid is kind of left wondering, clearing out waves, figuring out how to fix this one.
So Phoenix is going for all the swords in his build right now. Bloodthirster.
Wow.
Eye Edge next. He's going for an AD Corki build, which, considering what TIP is itemized, magic resistance seems to be the name of the game.
Yeah, okay.
Because pretty much because of the Rumble ultimate, shredded them last time. So this is actually a smart.
Oh, what? Wow.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
That's saddening.
That was special. Yeah, now Xiao's build as well. Those Tabis are looking like Jordan's. Complete AD build coming over from Phoenix. With steals like that, with Special making moves. I don't know if Impulse is going to keep their mind in this one. They still got a few thousand gold to work their way up here, and it looks like Liquid feels comfortable to start. Yeah, going for bot lane tier 2.
Now these are just squishy targets on Team Liquid's side. Rumble can go down pretty quickly. His Zhonya's is what's going to save him there.
Right.
If you catch these 2 AD carries, and once Xiao completes his Infinity Edge, it's going to be a huge spike for him with that extra crit in the passive.
This is actually a good fight for Impulse. They're down 4K, but they've got this turret shield for them. Gets broken now by Piglet and Dominate, but they're going to hard engage anyway. Hook's going to land onto a black shield. Special could be targeted. There's a knockup. Xiao puts down the wind wall, but Impulse don't chase in. Rush is tanky enough to survive this chase. Nothing going to happen to him. But the siege power of Liquid actually quite good. It seems like the dive isn't happening yet for Impulse, and Civerworld's down.
It's really hard to catch this double AD composition. When they're poking at you, how do you hard engage this from the team that TIP has? You have to get a binding catch out, or you have to use Sivir ultimate and run straight at them. It's very difficult to just immediately start the fight, because Threshbox is going to stop you as well. Like, there's a lot of things here that make it difficult for TIP to actually catch Team Liquid's AD carries.
All right, so now we get to see how Tip assesses the pressure once they're at their own base. Xiao is trying to get himself on the outside and make sure they have a little bit of vision. Good wards are being cleared out by Team Liquid now. They have the sweepers to do so, and the scrying orb as well from Piglet if anything gets scary. Here's that 1v1 situation he's trying to get himself, but he doesn't know where the pink wards are,
know where
so
he is.
he also has to be careful. Right, got to work out Rek'Sai. I don't think he thought of that.
That was aggressive by Phoenix. That binding hit, life could have been real difficult. Sivir's not close. Impact did not need to pop Zhonya's. This is going to be really rough for the guy. Flash the way. Where's the prison? Hits onto 2. Impact's going to go down right away to Piglet. And into the base they go. Team Liquid still on the chase. Xiao forced to flash out of this one. That'll be an inhibitor turret at least.
Definitely a game that played into their favor. The double AD composition coming through very strong here for Team Liquid. They even got the early game to themselves and were able to really hold the lead. It only fluctuated a few hundred gold when Impulse had it, but that was only because we saw Liquid being relaxed because they called to do so, not because they were pushed onto their back heel.
And I was talking about it as a positive thing before, where I was like, they don't have to rely on Rush. You saw Xiao getting the solo kill in mid lane. It looks like they need to rely on Rush a little more in the early game, because if they end up playing like this and they're going to just fall over to this composition because they didn't get a lead and they weren't able to find the team fights, and Quas just destroying them.
Quas made big moves in this game for being harassed so early.
And Dominate. Dominate
That's true.
is really the big
away
player here. 100% kill participation, and he's basically using that ultimate on cooldown when it aligns with opportunities.
Yeah. No, I
saw that quick learning. Never threw another ult into the wall.
Really smart play by Dominant. I got to say, he is absolutely carrying this game for his team because Sedgel Rumble is a guaranteed team fight win. And you can see Team Liquid, as you're talking about, when the opportunity aligns, Team Liquid will not hesitate. And they're constantly pressuring, saying, I dare you to misplay, I dare you to misplay. And the burden of playing properly is on Team Impulse right now, which makes it easy for Liquid to play around the map. I want to see Tip, though, go for more split push power, though, because I think they still have that in their tool set to try to break apart this team fight comp.
And I got to say, it's kind of a huge just internal boost when you see the Sejuani ultimate land on multiple people and then the Rumble ultimate just comes over that. Your entire team probably just goes absolutely crazy that that's happening. You're just like, that wombo combo! And it just feels so good when that happens.
I think everybody gets that sensation.
Yeah.
You never stand up out of your chair. So now looking at Team Liquid's composition, where they're at in this game, what should we expect actually for the game to be ending for them if it were to go, you know, spot on?
Oh, looks like Liquid just want to play it as much as they can, just very safe. They're skittering around the Baron, because if TIP get that Baron, they have a way back in. They have a great avenue back in.
Yeah, honestly, just Team Liquid, look for the open field team fights. Look for the ones where you can land the ultis like that. That's going to be a miss, though. Disengage, Dominate.
Oopsie daisy, indeed. There's the dark passages to the light. Safety at the end of the tunnel for him.
But this gives time for Impulse to do something. Sadly for them, mid inhibitor is down, but they've got a small window, 45 more seconds with no Sejuani ultimate, that I want to see Impulse get some control back. Maybe they can go for the Baron Sneak. They've got 2 AD carries essentially themselves with this Yasuo Sivir. Like, they can burn down objectives. Dragon will actually be down, or sorry, up just barely before Sedge ult comes back up as well. Dragon 3 and the rotation speed that it affords Team Impulse is on the table.
That's 65 seconds Sejuani ultimate with 35% CDR. Absolutely insane. He's about to have it back up again.
I'm pretty sure there's multiple times when I said, didn't she just use that?
Yeah.
That's always a fun moment.
Impulse don't have the timer. They could have rushed Drag.
Piglet with the slow. It doesn't look like they're going to be able to get anything on this. So we'll see Team Liquid trying to assert their dominance once again here. Zyrene, like you were saying, a lot about that Baron to make sure nobody gets it right from under their nose. Not too many forward wards here from Team Liquid to show them where Impulse is coming from. This might be a chance for them to get an upper hand here.
Yeah, if Impulse can find binding on the right people, Xiao has his item spikes completed. He has the IE done. If he can get onto Piglet or Phoenix with a knockup or a binding, he's just going to absolutely shred them. It'll take 1 or 2 Qs and an auto to just decimate that player.
And we're still waiting for the items to come in as well. Phoenix not yet Infinity Edge, although his impact with his spells is high enough. Quas is massive here. Death Cap Void Staff there. He's facing no tanks, so he doesn't go Leandries. He goes for ability power to kill squishies faster. I'm glad to see Liquid making adaptations like that. Correct builds for themselves. You can see Dominate's the only guy who ever face checks brushes, and Special's always there to pull him out. There's no catch potential for Impulse. But yet again, if TIP screws up, Sejuani ult to the face, team fight starts. Again, Liquid have more tools now.
Okay, Dom's also full build. He has that Elixir of Iron just popping on him. So as soon as he gets bound, he eats the binding and he just walks away right after. Very easy for him to stay alive. And he has the Thorn Mail. So the persistent damage of Yasuo and Sivir is not going to do too much to him. He's free to check.
These are the fights that tend to be my favorites. Just Yasuo, Xiao and Piglet are waiting for about 30 seconds on their flashes, and we are going to get an all-out, all-ability, all-ultimate fight. So it's really down to whoever makes the best moves out of it.
Apollo has so many resources in him, too. He's almost 100 CS up over Piglet, and he's got the majority of his kills, his team's kills. Right now, he's pretty powerful, especially in comparison to Piglet, because Piglet doesn't have all those crit chance increases. So right now, Apollo has to be able to shred through Dominate. But the fact that he's prioritized armor over everything else and very little magic resistance is going to make that difficult. And it's not a hyper carry.
Quas sitting on 657 ability power right now if he flies down the lane, plus the overheating of his temperature. So a lot of damage coming out of the Rumble this game. He doesn't go for too much safety. All damage from Quas as he tries to help carry. 505 for him. 1-0-12 from dominating that jungle that's helped facilitate and snowball all of his lanes to where they are now. As they start to pressure the mid inhib, it's on Impulse to figure this one out or get ready to think about game 3.
Team Liquid looking for the mid lane pretty heavily. Rush doesn't want the base gate after all. He's maybe trying to flank the bindings, not finding targets. And Phoenix starting to put some pressure. Wind wall is down now, which means the next team fight would be easy for Team Liquid. They can just impact. A lot of damage dealt there. Black Shield popped, and they are going to catch Dominate. They're going to knock down the tank without the ulti doing much of anything now. Here's the battle in. Where is Piglet? Adrian to reset for a bit of time. Impact gets the stun. Piglet pops QSS and chases on in. Xiao hits a couple. Special very, very low, but it's not going to be onto Phoenix, meaning the AD carries clean up everybody. Adrian, the only one left alive, a 4 versus 1 to close the game out.
AD carries indeed. Impact did his damnedest to fly straight for Phoenix and Piglet. But Zyrene, there wasn't much happening. The Nexus turret's now about to fall 17-6 as we kind of get a vice versa here. Impulse takes game 1, quite textbook style. Now it's Liquid to take game 2. And at 41:30 on the clock, Team Liquid take game 2. We're going to game 3, 1-1.
The fact that they're able to bounce back from that crushing defeat in game 1 is a good sign for Team Liquid in this series. They look like they could be poised to take 3rd place for the first time ever in the last few years.
Calm Quas walks off the stage. Everybody else happy, but they know there is much work to be done now.
We talked about Phoenix being incredible. Well, he beat up Xiao in the mid lane. 5-1-9, gave up a single solo kill, okay, whatever. His team fight impact was absolutely impressive. You put up the stat, highest damage dealt to champions in the game, Phoenix here in the mid lane. I mean, a great performance overall. And
beat Xiao by 7 CS. When does that happen?
Yeah, right? So a lot of great things happening.
He's pretty
overall.
much 240% of the damage of Xiao.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's just the poke from Gordon coming out. And also the fact that Xiao wasn't able to find these pivotal fights. His ultimate, when they were interrupting at Baron, was really big, but it didn't hit the right person.
I mean, that's what was so impressive by Team Liquid, is they had some poke, they had some hard engage that had to be respected at all times, and it made it very hard for Team Impulse to navigate fights once Team Liquid got ahead. The split push didn't seem to be an option anymore, or Team Impulse refused to use that as an option. And so it was, okay, 5v5 posturing. Well, guess what? Liquid's engage is better, so this 5-on-5, it's 85% of the time going to go Liquid's way, and it did.
And that final team fight, when they were kiting backwards, Phoenix and Piglet had prime positioning without a frontline tank because everybody's trying to kill Dominate. And then the wind wall was already used on Dominate early on, so they weren't able to actually just stop all the damage as the fight continued on TIP's side. So Team Liquid got that very easily at the end with good positioning.
Well, we're one win apiece right now, so we definitely got 2 more games to go. I'm excited about that. I'm sure everybody else is. And right now we're going to send it over to Dash, Jat, and Kobe on the analyst desk to break down that match.
Thank you, gentlemen. Well, we were talking about what would change in Champion Select. A lot changed here. We had 4 different bans, only 2 shared bans between the games, Hecarim, Urgot, and then a slew of new picks and traded contested picks as we were pointing out.
Someone said force Xiao Xiao on Yasuo.
Yeah. So
This guy.
I don't know how you force someone to last pick Yasuo, but we'll give it to you because success was found. Yasuo was not successful in that game. Overall, though, yeah, the Rumble first pick from Quas was really huge, being able to take that away from Impact. And Impact had a very underwhelming game on Morgana.
Yeah, that's definitely a big issue. I think the biggest story is the Sejuani for Dominate. Dominate very, very comfortable on the champion. We already saw him perform with this champion, who's extremely strong right now, and brings so much to team fighting. Team fighting is king between these 2 teams. Yeah. And after that first combo of Sejuani and Ultimate, you got a feeling for how the rest of the fights are going to go.
Fool him once, wind wall with the Sejuani ultimate.
Now and again.
Every other fight, like there was this wind wall that was this one small piece on the map, and that was usually able to be burned. Then they could come in with the Sejuani from one side. They could throw Twitch that always came from a different angle than the Sejuani to make sure that one of them always got their damage off. A lot of things went right for Team Liquid with what looked like a somewhat questionable team comp in Champ Select really played out well in game.
Yeah, interestingly, and I don't want to jump too far back to the other game, I just realized that Sejuani was open in that first game. Team Liquid decided to forego it for the Rek'Sai being unsuccessful so far in this series, and that's where I kind of want to go, back to Rush. The Gragas, they banned it away themselves this time. Didn't even give themselves the option of playing it if Liquid does go for the Sejuani, or fine, if Dominate goes for Gragas, we'll take Sejuani and have a playmaking tank champion that can initiate.
Well, they took the Rek'Sai, which they thought Dominate may have been prioritizing higher since he did allow to go through in the first game. But sometimes you switch them up. Sometimes that first game, the winner of the first game in these team series doesn't win the last semifinals.
All right, let's dive into the actual gameplay, though, here, because we spent a lot of time on the picks. The lane matchup-wise, Twitch found himself in the 2v2, went down very early. Things didn't look too great with Piglet down a fair amount of CS, holding on to only a Vamp Scepter for a very long period of time in that game. But then you look across to the mid lane, Phoenix was just beating up on Xiao. And it kind of evened the playing field there in terms of CS. And, we didn't see a team fight until Piglet got that Bork. And so I feel like the early advantage that they had in their AD carry on the side of Team Impulse wasn't utilized properly.
All it really feels like you're trying to do when you're on Twitch is survive. Sivir is not the strongest laner, but when you're up against Twitch with Ajana, you become a much stronger laner. And I think for Team Impulse, they needed the Yasuo to get ahead to have a split pushing threat, because ultimately when he didn't get ahead, it forced Team Impulse into taking team fights where they still could have won because they had a strong Sivir, a pretty strong Morgana at that point, had a lot of CDR and a blue buff, but team fighting was king in this game.
Well, that's the thing, though, Kobe. They seem to pick themselves into a position where if they didn't have a substantial early game lead, there was no way out for them. As Jat mentioned, there was some team fight potential for Impulse if they were ahead, but when you're going up against Sejuani Rumble, like, you're relegating yourself to not team fighting after a certain point in the game.
I feel like that Rumble takeaway really threw them off. And defaulting back to the Morgana, they're definitely not going to be the champion that's going to take over the game for Impulse. They need Impact to be the one to take over the game, because Xiao is not going to do it.
Right, and so...
On Yasuo.
Yeah, I do want... Yeah, or at least not on Yasuo. I do want to jump into our replay. We're going to go 24 minutes into the game, because this is the illustration of that team fight that Liquid is capable of with this composition, and it gets them back into the game. We're going to pull that up for you guys right now, and I'll let Jat. Yeah, Jat's going to walk us through it.
Absolutely pristine, all the things. Let's roll this right now because all we're watching for is the I will dominate ultimate, and immediately Quas puts down his equalizer, and Piglet opens up for spray and pray. It's everything they could want. So first off, I will dominate. He gets knocked around and he says, you know what, I'll just point blank ult you. As the equalizer was coming out, I swear they must use those spells at the same time. They just both saw the play and made the play. Piglet, even though he opened up, he got a lot of damage off, he ends up falling down because this was actually Impulse being ahead coming into that fight. Even with that glorious combo, it was still just a 2 for 3, but the fact that they could pull it off was threat enough, and they continue to do so throughout the game.
Quas is always such a calm guy, and you can see as soon as they get out of the Yasuo ultimate, he does not bat an eye. He's like, he turns around, he ultimates, he turns on his flamethrower, and then he Zhonya's. Like the perfect 3 sequence of button presses that you need to make just in time for Dominate also getting out of the Yasuo ultimate. Boom. Game over.
Right. So this is an example of where Team Liquid can shine when their communication is very clear, as you mentioned. Like those spells seem to layer on top of each other. The communication is obviously there in those moments. So I feel in order for Team Liquid to have success through the rest of the series, their communication has to be on par with how it was this game.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. They also need to make sure they have the champions that are capable of that type of synergy. Because if we look at their Game 1 team composition, yeah, Vladimir and Zed can use their ultimates at the same time, but that combination still isn't as spectacular as Sejuani and Rumble.
All right. We do have, it's a slightly non sequitur, but we do have an LCS big play from that match that we have to call out. At Benatti 2K writes, that red steal was especially nice. Here it is.
Yeah, this one caught us off guard a little bit when we were watching on stream because we were wondering why Xiao walked away from the red buff. It looked like he was trying to carry distance and then queue back into it for the last hit.
But yeah, I was like, he's waiting for it to give it over to Sivir, maybe.
Right. He was waiting to give it to Thresh.
That's what happened. There you got it.
Yeah, I think it was give it to Sivir. Yeah.
Success. All right. Well, you know, I want to do one quick note on what we think needs to happen here for Team Impulse, again, because they're going to be on the same sides. As we mentioned, it's blue for Team Liquid in the next 2 games, Impulse red for the next 2 games. This implies that because they chose red, they have red side strategies. Will they come out with something wildly different than what we saw this game?
I think that Impulse are going to come out with a teamfight focused composition that actually has a big front line. They need either Impact or Rush, I'd say Impact, to be the actual point man for this squad, because I feel like this series is going to boil down to teamfight execution.
Yeah, I think their bans change a little bit based on how well Quas did on Rumble. If they just leave Hecarim and Rumble and take whatever's left for them, they can try and allow Impact to outplay in that way. That's maybe one tweak I'd see them making.
We saw the Gnar in the first game, banned out second game, still some other top lane tanks available to him. We'll keep it tuned right here. In just a few minutes, we'll head back into the Rift for Game 3 between Team Liquid and Impulse. You're watching the North American LCS playoffs.
All right, let's go Karim barbecue after the game, guys.
Not again.
Okay, I told you.
You told you. Whatever we lost, we're our team.
Yep.
All right, let's go.
Not gone for a flash and burrow all game.
Oh,
he got it, yeah!
Oh, he windwalled the ultimate.
The glacial prison.
They're going on this one hard. That's going to be Apollo picking up the equalizer. The equalizer is just cooking Impulse right now.
Dominic goes back, and when it does come back up, Apollo hooked in and shut down. A 1-for-0 under the turret. The battle continues.
Yasuo.
Sivir no flash.
Okay, you can end.
Impulse takes game 1, quite textbook style. Now it's Liquid to take game 2.